Let's talk about the upcoming new moon in Gemini, a very Gemini new moon on 6/6, June 6th, coming up, and 5 planets in Gemini, including Jupiter. So let's talk about what all this means. Gemini, of course, is the sign of information and communication. So we'll unpack that and what it means and how you can make the most of it in this video. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe, your Astro perspective for the week as we head into the new moon for June 2nd. So this is my video for June 2nd, and we're looking at the upcoming June 6th new moon, and I'm super excited because not only is June 6th a new moon, but it's also the 2-year anniversary of me doing these daily videos. So I began on June 6th in 2022. I've posted a video about astrology and self-care for you every day since then. So celebrating this 2-year anniversary on June 6th, a very special day with this new moon. Thanks for being here. And I am going to share a guided meditation that I have for the upcoming new moon. So stay tuned until the end, or check the notes for this video for more information on how to access and order that guided meditation. Very affordable way to deepen into the energies of this new moon. So looking at what we've got coming up on June 6th. First of all, a new moon is the ending of the last moon cycle, as well as the beginning of the next moon cycle. So the new moon is that reset point where we come back to center, we regroup, we see, kind of where we're at following what we learned, what we experienced, how it felt, how we digested and processed what unfolded throughout the previous moon cycle, as we let go, right, of that cycle, that set of learnings and experiences and feelings and all that came with it, right? So we also are heading into a new moon cycle. So setting our intentions, getting ourselves grounded, and aligning with what we want this moon cycle to be about. So setting your intentions for the coming moon cycle means you're saying, here is what I am feeling called to experience and explore and discover more about. And so this is what I want, right? We claim our desires with our intentions, and then we let go. We let the universe show us, why is that desire there in the first place? So in other words, if I want, the thing that I desire is like a brand new shiny red car, right? I can have that be my intention, but then what the universe is going to help me understand through the coming moon cycle is how that particular desire is actually helping me to understand myself better. So it's helping us to deepen into who we are, to recognize why we want the things we want, who we are being in the world, and how to show up in the world. That helps us understand how to receive, right? How to receive what we are, because we are worthy of receiving things that we desire, but also what we have to learn in the process. And coincidentally, I guess a good segue here is that Gemini is the sign of information and learning, right? It's how we process and digest and integrate things through our mind, our logic, our mental processes. So as we set our intentions for the coming moon cycle with the Gemini new moon, which again is coming up in just a few days on June 6th, we have this experience of this invitation to expand our minds, to learn new things, to discover more information along the way that is going to help inform us. So that's how we want to work with the new moon and setting intentions. But let's look at the energy of this particular new moon. So some definite things stand out about this new moon. And first of all, I think it's just very synchronistic that it's on 6/6. And during the new moon, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is in Gemini at 6 degrees. So there's that number 6. And I'm not a numerologist, but I just think it's interesting. So we're seeing the theme here of the number 6 and the moon and sun, because they're together during a new moon, as well as also Venus, all together at 16 degrees Gemini. So that's kind of fun too. So the exact new moon, I'm looking at the chart now, it's at 5:37 a.m. on Thursday, June 6th. So that is Pacific time. I'm in the United States, so that's my time zone. You could also compare it with Los Angeles time. Your own time zone if you need to find your time, your own timing of the new moon. So that's what time the exact new moon is, at 16 degrees Gemini. And of course, with 5 planets in Gemini, we also have Jupiter at 2 degrees Gemini. 5 planets. So let's recap. Here we've got Sun and Moon, both in Gemini. Venus in the same degree with the Sun and Moon in Gemini. Mercury at 6 degrees Gemini, and Jupiter at 2 degrees Gemini, for a total of 5 planets. That is a lot of Gemini. So so Gemini, right, is in a little bit all over the place in terms of information. And if you were a bee, a lovely honeybee or some other kind of pollinator in a field of colorful flowers, you would be zipping around going, oh, there's another one, there's another one. Oh, how about this other one that I see out of the corner of my eye? And so Gemini is very focused on the present moment, what is right before you. So that is why Gemini gets a reputation for being distractible, right? Going off on tangents, following threads of things because they happen to show up in the moment. So there is that quality here very much to this new moon, this quality of curiosity, right? So we're following our interests, what intrigues us, what is showing up in our field of vision, or metaphorically what's showing up in our lives and how we experience things throughout our day, to bring in new bits of information, new things for us to explore, places of learning, places of curiosity, as well as lots and lots of communication. So where do you need to speak up? What is it you need to say? So in other words, let's use this Gemini energy to align with our heart's truth and what we want to say, so that we can speak and communicate and convey information in ways that are useful, productive, in alignment with where we want to go, right? Our intentions. And hopefully you have intentions for something that's truly meaningful. So if you want a brand new shiny red car, why, right? Why is that meaningful for you? What does it give you? What does it allow you to have in your life? How does it make you a better person? So those are some things to explore in terms of your own curiosity about your own thinking, right? And this Gemini new moon is about thinking. It's about information. with Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, in Gemini, it's just very, very Gemini, right? So, so very focused on words and language, communication, facts, information, data, how data is being collected, how it's being shared, what is the fact behind the information, right? Fact checking and checking your own thinking and looking at your own perspective when you are processing information. What are your biases? What do you need to factor in? So getting to some of the deeper root of what the information is and how it shows up. So diving a little bit deeper into this energy, we see also not only Mercury in Gemini, but also Jupiter conjunct Mercury in Gemini. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion and abundance. It brings bigness to whatever it touches. And in this case, it is only 4 degrees away from Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of ideas, thinking, communication, mental processes, words, language, in the sign of all of those things, because it's in its own home territory in Gemini. So the sign of information, with the planet of information processing in that sign. And then with Jupiter in Gemini as well, Jupiter conjunct Mercury, we have a feeling of expansion. So bigness in terms of importance, bigness in terms of how it shows up in our lives, bigness in terms of significance, right? So Jupiter is sort of the planet that reminds us of our beliefs, what we care about, expanding into this bigger picture of truth. So what we consider to be the truth, what is the belief system that we are in, right? Immersed in. How do we need to expand? To open our minds, to expand our thinking, to incorporate the bigness of who we are, what we're becoming in terms of our ideas and our thinking and our language and communication. So Jupiter is bringing a bigness, a significance, a feeling of importance. Um, and so in the collective, of course, themes of information, who's telling the story, who's in charge of the narrative, right? And a feeling of bigness and importance and significance around information, storytelling, what is being shared, how is it being communicated, who's telling the story, and how is it being told, and how are we receiving the information, and how are we using our own minds to sort out, right? What do we believe? Why do we believe that? So there's something that I want to talk about here, and thinking in terms of especially the bigger story, the narrative, the beliefs, right? We have such a divided society right now, right? Like divisions in terms of belief system, in terms of who's got the right information and how the story is being told, and misinformation, disinformation. So so we can't ignore, in my mind, the fact that Neptune is part of all of this. So uh strictly speaking, right, Neptune is just kind of hanging out over there in Pisces. Saturn is forming a square during this new moon. It's forming a square with the sun, moon, and Venus at 16 degrees Gemini. Saturn is at 18 degrees Pisces during this new moon. And so anyway, here's Neptune though, hanging out. As I've been talking about here on these videos, Neptune is approaching the very, very end of Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac when we look at it from the perspective of Aries being new birth, new sense of self, initiating energy. And then if we think of Aries as initiating and the beginning of the bigger cycle, Pisces is the conclusion. So Aries is that impulsive action where we emerge in terms of our identity, our ego, our sense of self, and impulsiveness in terms of, here I am, you can't stop me, some assertiveness. Can sometimes be more aggressive. So as we come full circle around the zodiac to Pisces, we've completed all the lessons in the zodiac from Aries, Taurus, Gemini, all the way through Pisces. So Pisces is the end, right? Pisces is the completion. It is the conclusion. It is where we connect with spirit. We release the ego. We transcend our physical limitations in terms of metaphorically what we have been, what we have identified as. So it doesn't have to be like literal death and rebirth. And it's really just like the end of a cycle, the end of an era, the end of a way of seeing things, of understanding things, of being, of seeing ourselves. So with Neptune at the very end of Pisces, which Neptune will station retrograde on, I believe it is July 2nd. So we're heading toward several weeks of Neptune in that last degree of Pisces. So when Neptune goes retrograde, it'll get so close to Aries, but it won't go into Aries. Not this year. Next year, Saturn joins up with Neptune as they both enter Aries, and that will be a significant moment. So bigger than a moment. But for now, what we're looking at is Neptune reaching the very end of this very last sign of Pisces, and then going retrograde to stay in Pisces a little bit longer. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because Neptune went into Pisces in 2011, and Neptune in Pisces is Neptune in its own sign. So Neptune is the planet of spirituality, of transcendence, of getting outside the ego, exploring what lies beyond the boundaries, right, of physical limitation, and accessing the realm of spirit and energy and intuition and our hearts and some of these intangible things that lie beyond our minds, right? Our ability to conceptualize things. So it's sort of connecting to this bigger picture of love and compassion and a bigger mythology. And that is where we come into, of course, Neptune in its own sign of Pisces also amplifies all of this, right? So Neptune in Pisces since 2011 has been amplifying the experience of dissolving of boundaries. So one way that manifests is in terms of losing a sense of clarity. So what Neptune does, especially in Pisces, is it's like fog. So if you can imagine, the fog comes in and it obscures all the signposts that told us where we were, that help us orient ourselves, and we know who we are, where we belong, we know right from wrong, all of those things. Neptune in Pisces obscures them, or can obscure them. And so what it's doing is it's saying, you know, what you thought was true may not be like that, right? It might be something different. So it obscures the boundaries, the guardrails, the signposts, the things that tell us who we are and how we are and which way is the right way to go, right? And so we have to, when Neptune is in Pisces, we have to look to a bigger picture of truth. We have to ask ourselves, what do I believe and why? And what am I using as my way of orienting myself, as my compass, right? What is helping me remember what's important in the bigger picture, and how do I embody that in my daily life? So, Neptune in Pisces has brought, one of the things that it has brought is this experience of, what is the truth? So, what is the truth? And when someone tells a lie, should I believe it? How do I know it's a lie, right? Do I, like, who should I trust? How do I decide? How do I discern? How do I orient myself within this experience of truth and fiction, and truth and lies, and information and disinformation and misinformation? And so one of the things that's happening is that on this level of our bigger mythology of what orients us, how we know who we are, how we know where we belong, in terms of the bigger picture of society and culture and politics and all the things that are going on, how do we decide for ourselves what is meaningful, what is true, and what is right? So we have the option to believe the distractions, the delusions, the illusions, the things that are being presented by the man behind the curtain, right? So so what are we hearing? How is the story being portrayed and presented? What are we believing? All of those questions are here for us collectively. So this is not about us versus them. It's not about, you know, what you believe. It is about the experience of this bigger picture of how we navigate. And we're being asked to orient ourselves based on an expansion of our understanding of the truth, right? And that is in many ways about how we see ourselves and how we see our own role in our lives. So how do we decide what the truth is? How do we discern? Who do we listen to? So all of that is like background context, right? That's been here since 2011. This is nothing new. And it will change next year when Neptune goes into Aries, when we get a little bit more passionate and impulsive and acting on what we believe. But for now, it's really about just how do we orient ourselves. So in comes this Gemini new moon in the context of that bigger picture. And with this Gemini new moon, we have this need to seek out information, but not only to seek out information, to actually be the source of information. So like finding out the places where you need to learn more, where you need to explore the facts, right? And put them into words through your own voice, finding your way of saying things, but also being clear about where you're getting your information from, what it means, how you're deciding whether it's true or not, right? Asking these bigger questions that are helping us open to a bigger truth, where we can hold, as a society, we can hold what we're becoming, what we can what is possible for us to become. So Jupiter is about expansion. It's about faith, optimism, what we believe in, where we put our faith and trust. And so when we can believe in and trust the information because we've done our research, because we have informed and educated ourselves and listened to different perspectives and opened our minds and asked ourselves, where might I be deluded, following an illusion, or confused, or not sure? So clarifying that for ourselves, and then actually seeking out the truth and asking ourselves how we're going to decide what the truth is. So that is a theme for this year. It is a theme for the November election in the United States. It is a theme for us personally and collectively. And so I want to invite you to think about, what do you need to say? What are the words and the ways that you need to communicate, and the ideas you need to communicate, to share from your own perspective and your own voice and your own truth, to listen and speak, right? To engage in this process of communication so that you're showing up in your truth, showing up to share the ideas, but also with an open mind to listen and have that real exchange with other real human beings who may or may not believe what you believe, but we can show up with this Neptunian compassion for ourselves as well as our fellow human beings. And so we are in this together, and we do have to decide what the truth is together. And so this is all about how we're going to decide how we do that. And your voice matters. Your way of participating and engaging in this process helps to shape the narrative, the truth, what we choose as important information, what we choose as how we are going to navigate this bigger story. All right. So thank you so much for being here. And that guided meditation that I have is called, I've got the title here. It is called The Power of Heartfelt Communication. And it's only $15. So check out the link in my, sorry, I got lost here for a second. Check out the link in the description for this video. It's also available on my website, The Power of Heartfelt Communication, a guided meditation. It's a 30-minute experience that you can listen to that will help you tune in to your own set of beliefs, helping to identify what it is you need to communicate and what is true and right for you. And so that guided meditation can help you make the most of this 6/6 new moon in Gemini, and help me celebrate my 2-year anniversary of being here with these daily videos with you as well. Thank you so much for being here. My website is astrologyheals.com. Don't forget to subscribe if you found this video interesting. Share it with a friend as well. And thanks so much for being here. Astrologyheals.com. That's me, Marina Orms. Thanks again for being here, and I will see you next time.